Good evening, or afternoon, I should say. Why am I saying evening? It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon right now. And welcome
Evening
to
in
the...
England?
yes, exactly. It's evening in England. But yes, good afternoon. And welcome to the first semifinal of the Jeopardy live panel tournament of panelists. As always, if you want to say something to us on Twitter, you can use the hashtag Jeopardy live panel. Thanks for tuning in, or thanks for tuning in on the replay. These people have all made it through one panel. This is the second of three for whomever happens to win this competition. But our semi-finalists, before I introduce them, I should probably introduce the second half of our international, bipartisan, and it was even suggested I use the term ecumenical judging panel.
This is great.
The founder
I think every round you should just add a word.
Yes, the founder of the JeopardyFan.com, Jeannie Kenko. So how's the last little bit been for you? Not too bad, I hope.
The last what?
The last couple of days, how have they been? It's been a while. It's been a couple of days. That's good to hear. Who's your pick for the men's U.S. Open final?
Roger.
I wonder why.
Yeah. The women's final is starting right now, but it's being preempted by tennis or football. Yeah. I'm sure when this goes over, they'll switch it over.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see not Serena play. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's the first all-Italian women's final in the Open era.
Yeah, I did read about that.
Wow.
Vinci is usually a doubles player.
Yeah, that's what I heard, too. I hope she pulls it off today because she was so excited yesterday. It was just encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, like, since you already beat the person that everybody was here to see, you might as well win, you know what I mean? That'd be a lot worse if you...
To be honest, I think the fact that the bottom just fell out of the secondary ticket market after Serena lost was the biggest... was the biggest thing. A lot of scalpers, I think, are cursing the fact that they have tickets to this now and probably can't get rid of them.
Hashtag blame Drake.
Andy Roddick tweeted that. He tweeted, like, lol at all the people who have women's final tickets.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was, like, this close to buying. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So enough of tennis. Let's talk Jeopardy. You've got some...
No more tennis!
This is not tennis live panel.
Yeah, exactly.
And our semi-finalists here, we have first up wearing the J Archive shirt in honor of one of the people who fell in the fan vote yesterday. But we have here Mark Barrett honoring, of course, David Kendall. Next up, we have Elliot Yates, another person who's hoping to qualify for the tournament or to study and win in the Tournament of Champions, Darren Harris-Fain. We've got Brandon Saunders, Aria Gerson.
Still.
Hashtag inside joke on the panel. And finally, Alexander Persaud. Thank you all for joining us. Straight off to the first question, by the way, this will get answered in kind of order: Mark, Elliot, Darren, Brandon, Aria, and Alexander. First question for the panel today. I wonder why I'm asking this. If you could ask for one Jeopardy-related gift for your birthday, what would that gift be? Okay, one Jeopardy-related gift for your birthday. What would that gift be? Once again, Mark, Elliot, Darren, Brandon, Aria, Alexander.
I would like a call from Maggie. We are doing a one-time champion tournament.
Now you're talking.
Elliot.
My most prized possession was the hat, the Jeopardy hat that you got in the bag afterwards. After I lost, they gave me this terrible bag, and I wasn't even going to look through it until I got back to my hotel, and I saw this beautiful hat in it, and it got stolen when I was in Barcelona back in March. and I want another one. I need that hat back. Hopefully, if I get to go to the tournament, we'll get another one, or they can give me another one. But I just want it again because it was beautiful.
Oh, you can have mine, Elliot.
Okay, I'll send you my address.
Yeah,
everybody get a hat except me. What is this?
I didn't get one either.
Oh, I wish I had more than one to give.
Darren, what about you?
I would like Johnny Gilbert's shiny jacket and his hair.
Ooh. That is an excellent. I didn't even think of that. That's so good. That's ridiculous.
Brandon.
Yeah, mine is pretty easy. Along the same lines as Mark, I want a letter saying that, hey, what I want to know, even if they don't bring back all the teens and kids, I want to know if they are or not, like if they're going to do it or not, because if they are, then I know, that it's still a thing that I can work towards and a thing that I can study for. But if not, now I know, because Jeopardy has a lot of, if you've been on this many shows in this many years, you can't go on. If they're not thinking on bringing it back, I want to know, so then I don't really have to plan ahead to be like, oh, well, I can't be in these shows in this amount of years before Jeopardy. So even if they don't bring them back, I would like to know whether they're doing it or not. And also, I want a note from Harry Friedman because I like Harry Friedman.
Yeah.
So a note from Harry Friedman saying that is probably what I would ask for.
Aria.
Well, barring a Team Also Rans tournament, I think that my Jeopardy-related gift that I would want was, so when I was at my audition, I got a Jeopardy water bottle, and that thing was basically my prized possession because it was my way of bragging, hey guys, I was on Jeopardy, without actually having to bring it up in conversation. But then I lost it, and I was really sad, so now I can't do that anymore. And I just want to get another one so I can subtly brag to people again.
Alexander.
So I guess kind of different, but I remember as a kid I saw on 60 Minutes sort of a back behind the story about the Jeopardy writers, and I'd love to get a call to be like, hey, we need an extra writer, at least for a little while. Do you want to come join us? So I'd love to be on the back side.
Absolutely.
That's a solid get right there.
Bring me with you.
Will do.
Okay, so the scoring has not changed. Obviously, 0 to 10 for an answer from our judges. The way the voting works, there will not be a Twitter poll this time. It will just be a Google poll. Just go to our website, thejeopardyfan.com, fill out the ballot there, one ballot per Google account. Also, one thing to note, you may vote anywhere from 1 to 6 of our panelists for each of our semifinals. I'm going to call this the Jennifer Morrow rule, because, of course, she likes voting for everyone. And so, therefore, if for every 5% of the ballots, your name appears on, you'll get 1 point for towards your final score. The winner of each semifinal will progress to the finals. Also, the next 4 highest scores will also progress. Note that will be a combination of debate and fan vote the entire time, so there won't be any special wildcards for debate. Just the final scores, the top 4 non-winning scores, as well as the 4 winners, will qualify for a final panel. Scores off that first debate question, high scores all around. Mark picks up 8, Elliot and Darren 9, Brandon also 9, Aria and Alexander pick up 7. By the way, if you ever become a writer, please cease all contact with me.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you ever become a writer, stop talking to me forever. No offense, but
yeah, I want to get on the show first.
Great.
So, question number 2, Elliot will go first, then Darren, Brandon, Aria, Alexander, and then Mark. It seems like a few times a season, Jeopardy manages to kind of jinx something by asking about someone or something shortly before bad things happen to them. Do you have a favorite instance of the Jeopardy jinx? I have an example but I will save it till the end just in case one of you wanted to bring it up. But, Elliot, you'll go first, followed by Darren, Brendan, Aria, Alexander, and Mark. Good for Mark, I think it's a phone ring, but...
Well, speaking as the only 4-time champion from the past season that didn't make it to be a 5-time champion since the last tournament, like there have been 7 who made it to 5 and 1 who didn't. It was me. And so that day that they put up, oh look, he's the 4-time champion. Will he make it to 5? And of course they put that up. We had taped it 2 months earlier. But they put that up, and then a lot of people were commenting like, "No, don't jinx it, don't jinx it." And that was my first awareness of this jinx. And I was like, "Y'all, they already jinxed it. They went back in time and jinxed it in the past." And so I will say that they jinxed me from becoming a 5-time champion, and I'm still bitter about it.
Darren.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different type of Jeopardy jinx in which events happen since the taping that make the clue sound kind of odd.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of the baseball player, but they had a clue toward the very end of season 31 where a trader had just gotten traded.
Troy Tulowitzki, yeah.
Yeah. So that's my example.
Brandon.
Yeah, there was another one like that where they had asked for a member of the Senate, like it was like a category where it was politicians. I was going to say Troy Tulowitzki, Darren, so you stole that. I hope you're supporting you. But anyway, yeah, no, they had asked for like a Senate member, like a representative, and they had actually put it like how it said like Alex Trebek has re-recorded. Like fine print down there. It said like this was taped in March. Like don't worry about it. And there was this whole big thing about it, and people started getting kind of all like, oh wait, I don't know. I don't know if it's because they wrote the clue. And I'm sure somebody was in the audience and then went and like tried to impeach her because they saw the clue and they wanted to make it wrong in June. I'm sure that. But yeah, it was still pretty funny to see.
Aria.
I think. So I remember that when Julia Collins was going on her streak, everyone was like, "Oh my God! Like she won 20 games. Will she win more?" And at the same time, they were hyping. Oh my God, guys! It's the 10th anniversary of when Ken Jennings started his run. And of course, on that very day, on that very anniversary of when Ken Jennings started winning, Julia lost, and they were like hyping those things at the same time. And like, I think that's my favorite instance of that jinx. No one touches Ken Jennings.
Yeah.
Alexander.
I was actually thinking of that, but I guess kind of relatedly, Ben Ingram got every single Final Jeopardy question right. And I was thinking about this, and then I remember reading on a fan site, oh, like, is he going to get this right? And he got it wrong, but he still won the tournament champion. So it was okay, but it was one of these things where you thought, okay, somebody's jinxed him.
And Mark, I know you probably know more about more jinxes than anyone else on this panel, so we'll see what your favorite one is. I'm curious to hear this one.
I'm just going to take a more general example. 3 players are over 12,000, and Alex will say, "We have a chance of a big payday today."
Yeah. The winner ends up with $6. Yeah. Along those same lines, I would like to add to my thing. Also, say a lot of times going into the Tournament of Champions, when they reintroduce the 15 players, they always hype up the biggest winners, like this past one with Julia and Arthur. Even though Ben was the biggest winner of season 29, and they were making this whole big thing about, oh yes, it's going to be so big, and even I know the 2011 tournament, the 2012 tournament, the biggest winners didn't end up winning the Tournament of Champions, and I feel like, I mean, obviously, I don't think it's Jeopardy that's like behind it, but I think that's kind of a funny thing whenever they hype up the biggest winners and they're never the ones who win, like nowadays, the past 5 years, I guess. Pretty funny.
And I have to say, Oh, I was going to say, as the current number 15 in a field of 15, that is my fervent hope and prayer.
Yeah.
If I make it to the TOC.
Yeah. That's good.
I'm also pursuant to what Brandon said. David Madden didn't win his TOC either.
Exactly.
So.
David Madden didn't win. Yeah.
I think the biggest winner has only won like twice or something. I think it was like Chuck Forrest, and it was like one of the only ones. So
yeah, Chuck Forrest. I know. Going back, I don't even think, because Roger is like the 5th biggest winner, period, and he wasn't the biggest winner of his season, because Tom Nisley was in his tournament, and then Roger won, and then before that, going back, I think it's only happened, I think maybe 4 or 5 times.
Okay, so that by the way, I was going to bring up Troy Tulowitzki as my example.
Yeah.
As well, but because
the clue was like, he's gonna bring the Rockies to victory, and it was like a day after.
Yeah. Well, I saw the clue again today, and I'm like, well, I suppose you could say the Blue Jays have mile-high hopes, and then guess what? They've gone like 30-9 since the trade. So
yeah.
So while the judges come up with scores to the second question, we're back with the caption competition, and
I'm gonna have to lean in for this one.
Okay, so let's see. Screen sharing. There we go. Why is this?
This is one of those nighttime ones, right?
Let's see. Start screen share. Can you guys see a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well.
Okay.
Yes.
You guys can see a picture. Awesome. Okay, that's what we need. Wasn't entirely sure why I'm having those. It's not working like it did in the quarterfinals, but at least as long as you guys can see a picture, it is good. Let's see here. Scores. Okay, so Elliot picks up 7. He is on 16. Darren picks up 8. That puts him on 17. Brandon 8 for 17. Aria 7 for 14. Alexander picks up 7 for 14, and Mark 8 for 16. So once again, basically, you get to come up with a Jeopardy-related caption of this photograph. Going first will be Darren, followed by Brendan, Aria, Alexander, Mark, and Elliot. Darren.
Well, by Jeopardy related, I am going to go with JeopardyFan.com related. I wish I were having a beer with Andy in Guelph.
Hello.
Brendan.
Hey man, you gotta move the runner over. We have mile-high hopes over here. Come on.
Aria.
I think I'm gonna go with the classic. Ooh, sorry.
Oh.
Alexander.
Oh, I was gonna go with the ooh, sorry, especially because it's Canadian. No, it's okay. I guess I would have to go with Alex Trebek looking at people skeptically when they say something silly. So there's just the kind of the clucking of the tongue.
Yeah. Sorry, the answer is Minerva. You said Afghanistan. You're not.
Yeah.
Mark.
The Toronto Blue Jays are relevant. What is 1992?
Oh, man.
And Elliot.
Is this Sports Jeopardy? I have no idea what that is. That's all I have.
In case you were curious, this is a screenshot from a game earlier this year with Josh Donaldson of the Toronto Blue Jays yelling across to the Los Angeles Angels dugout. So that was the photograph in question. The judges are coming up with some scores. I have a feeling that Alexander may like this fourth question, but I'll take that.
Is this question, what did Alexander have for dinner last Thursday? Because I'm completely lost if it is.
Hey, I found a proxy for him to yell at.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so on this one, Darren picks up 5 for 22, Brandon picks up 8 for 25, Aria 7 for 21, Alexander 7 for 21, Mark 8 for 24, and Elliot 6 for 22. Still, everyone kind of within 4 points after 3 questions here. Question number 4, Brandon will go first, Aria, Alexander, Mark, Elliot, and Darren. This one prefaced with, if you were a Jeopardy writer. So if you were a Jeopardy writer, what would be the first category that you'd write that you haven't seen on the show before? So, of course, that discounts Roman numerals to initials to numbers. Or, sorry, initials to Roman numerals to numbers. That discounts that one. So, granted, I would like to see more of that on the show.
Yeah, it's cool, too.
Yeah. But Brandon will go first. If you were a Jeopardy writer, what would be the first category that you'd write that you haven't seen on the show before?
All right, now this is bordering on kind of like a policy argument for how the clues are written, but I would write a pop music category where it was the opposite, right? Where so like the 2000 clues will be like more stuff from the 60s and 70s, and the 400 would be about something that you could turn on the radio and listen now. Like most of the time, the pop music categories, like the 400 and the 800, are like Paul Simon and the Beatles, and then like I remember I was watching a pop music lyrics category or something. It was just lyrics, song lyrics. And the 2000 was from Katy Perry's Dark Horse, like one of the main lyrics from Dark Horse, which, like, I get if you don't like Katy Perry, and I'm not, like, a massive Katy Perry fan, sorry to Pat Jack, but this was, like, one of the biggest songs of 2014, like, easily the 5 biggest songs of 2014, and that's this was Double Jeopardy 2000, and I mean, like, do you really expect everybody to be living under a rock? So I would probably write, and I know I'm biased because, like, I was born in the 90s, so I don't know that 60s crap like people who were around. But I would write a pop music category that's actually about popular music now, not popular music for when the Jeopardy demographic was my age. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Aria.
So I think the category that I would write would be British alternative rock music of the mid-2000s. Because, yeah, that's basically kind of my specialty, but to make it more accessible, I'd probably not make it a full music category, because you know how Jeopardy does those things where that you think the category is about one thing and it's really about another thing, but I just want a category that's British alternative rock of the mid-2000s. That would be the greatest.
Category is titled Cold Play, with cold in quotation marks.
Exactly.
True.
Alexander.
So this actually goes back to playing trivia once in Chicago, where my team won and we got to choose a category for the next game. And so, as a cricket fan, I chose cricket, and it made the trivia organizers so angry because they didn't know how to ask questions.
They had to look cricket up.
They're like, cricket. All right. So
this
they ended
was
up.
a Jeremy Conman's game, was it?
No. Nice labor reference. So I would say cricket, because it's going to be a little different, and you could definitely mix it up and have some things that maybe are not as obvious.
Mark.
My first category would be Brady Bunch guest stars, and I would have a daily double asking for Don Drysdale and Wes Parker, who both appeared in different episodes.
Oh, so nice.
I guess Brandon would prefer Left Shark, all about things that happen in Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yeah, exactly. You know me so well, Mark.
Elliot, what would you write?
I would start with a clue, something like this Canadian chanteuse led Switzerland to victory in 1988 with Ne partez pas sans moi, and then I would bring up a question about ABBA winning in 1974, and then I would bring up a question about Ireland having the most wins with 7, I would definitely go with a Eurovision category.
Eurovision.
It's literally the biggest competition in the world after the World Cup, and just because America doesn't know much about it, that doesn't mean Jeopardy contestants shouldn't know much about it.
Amen.
And Darren.
Well, I know Jeopardy says that they like for the contestants actually to be able to answer the questions. They don't want too many triple stumpers.
Yeah.
But I would like to see the horror on contestants' faces by unleashing 19th century vice presidential middle names.
Ooh. Ooh, okay. Clearly I need to study that.
You're looking at like cable and like yeah, they're gonna have to. The problem is that they'd have to ask too many. They'd have to ask too many. What do you call it? Too many presidents that were also vice presidents. Otherwise, people would just be kind of like refined.
We better watch for the online test next year.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Tournament of Champions level difficulty right there, I think.
Yeah.
But, oh my.
Oh, I would also like to see presidents by Secretary of State. I don't think we've ever seen that. And like vice president's fine, but like not like skewing like. And we also had a first lady by like it was like first lady by last name. But it was all like stuff in the last 40 years. So it's like really like they're presidents. That's 20th century bias. So either of those would be cool because those are like things that like it's not like who wouldn't even know that. It's like relevant American history stuff. But also, it requires knowledge, probably.
Okay, so our judges, I think, are coming up with scores here for question number 4. Let's see. Question number 5, I'll give you a chance to think about. We will start with Aria on this one, and then go Alexander, Mark, Elliot, Darren, and Brendan. Now, I will say, you may not answer your why with because they're dead on this question. But,
oh boy.
What person, living or dead, would be the worst possible replacement for Alex Trebek? Why?
You said which person, living or dead?
Living or dead. What person, living or dead, would be the worst possible replacement for Alex Trebek, and why? And you can't pick some random dead person and say because they're dead. Okay, so we have some scores from question number 4. Brandon picks up 7. That puts him on 32. Aria 8 for 29. Alexander 7 for 28. Mark 8 for 32. Elliot 9 for 31. Darren 9 for 31. So still very, very close at this point in terms of the judging scores. So yes, what person, living or dead, would be the worst possible replacement for Alex Trebek? Aria, you're going first.
Well, I think that I have to go with Kim Kardashian. I think the reasons would be pretty obvious, but, well, Jeopardy is not that kind of TV show.
I would have to say, though, that I think the ratings would go through.
It might go up, yeah.
I know I'd start watching.
Okay. Alexander.
Well, so Alex Trebek is from Canada, so I was thinking of the Canadian I wouldn't want, and that has to be Rob Ford. Because, I mean, again, the ratings might go up, but, he gets asked a question, he answers one way, he gets asked another question, that's the same question, answers a different way. You're not sure if he's going to give you the right answer. So I think that might be a bad idea.
Mark.
I would say Drew, the stand-up comedian from America's Got Talent.
Elliot.
If I were going to be super topical, I would say Kim Davis. but I'm only going to be a little topical, and I'll say Sarah Palin because, well, a lot of reasons. Just hearing her talk, it takes her a long time to get through the things that she's planning to say, and I feel like she would leave the words on the screen and just start rambling on almost every answer.
I wonder if she could see Russia from her Jeopardy set.
I don't even know if she can point out where Russia is. Bless her heart.
Darren.
Well, I too, thinking along Canadian lines, would think of the Canadian I would not want to see, and that is Justin Bieber.
Yeah. You get the teenage demographic.
Only some of the girls.
Yeah.
And my own daughter only had a 2-week Justin Bieber phase.
Oh, I know
Be
a fair
thankful,
share of
be
adults
thankful.
that like
thankful.
Justin Bieber, at least in the beginning.
And Brandon.
See, my thing with everybody is that they're basing it on personality or their bit, what they're known for. You got to remember, look, Pat Sajak is this crazy climate change denier. Like, he's completely off his rocker, but everybody still loves Wheel of Fortune because all he has to do is, do you want to buy a vowel? Vanna, please turn the letters over, RSTLNE, and all that stuff. I'm thinking, what would actually be the worst host from a logistical standpoint? Like, what would make the show impossible to watch? Like, not like impossible, like, oh, I hate Justin Bieber, but like literally impossible. So my answer is Helen Keller, because if you could try to imagine her hosting the show, it would be impossible. Not because, oh, I don't like her or whatever. It would to be a horrible host logistically for obvious reasons. So is going to be my answer.
Ooh, I didn't get the lowest score.
Who said that? Who said that?
That was Mark.
Oh, okay. Mark,
Bringing out the trash talk here.
That was some good smack.
We need our fix after the summer hiatus challenge.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not entirely sure how our judging panel is going to take these results.
I mean, you asked who would be the worst host for a show, and that is probably the worst host for a show. I answered your question. I mean, Kim Kardashian can still read the answers, like it's whatever. Like, he probably won't be saying, ooh, sorry, but, the show will still go on. Like, it's not
Have
a
we
big deal.
confirmed that she actually can read? Do we
Yeah,
not,
she can read. All those people can read. All those people can speak. Like, it's not like a logistical problem for the show. You may not like it as much, but I'm sure that that's not literally the worst host ever. Like,
And if you don't know who Drew is from America's Got Talent, do America's Got Talent Drew on YouTube, and then you'll see why.
Yeah, I actually wasn't even making a joke. Like, I was saying who would actually be the worst host. I'm sorry for actually answering your question, judges.
Well,
I think we're both confused now about how to score this, because I haven't received scores from my own judge yet. And I have some blank squares on my own sheet, too.
And if Helen Keller does a bad job, how do you punish her? You move the set around.
Oh, see, now that's
No.
the joke.
No.
I wasn't making a joke.
No.
Okay.
I was being serious.
Guess what? I haven't announced the scores yet. I can still change mine.
Yeah, that's a docking right there, Mark. How dare you? You should go watch The Miracle of Patty Duke and Bancroft. It's an inspiring film. Inspiring play.
Water.
Yeah, exactly. They both won Oscars for that, by the way.
So, scores from question number 5. You might have been good to wait until after I announced these scores to make your tasteless jokes. But I will say Aria picks up 9 points for 38. Alexander picks up 7 for 35. Mark picks up 7 for 39. Elliot 8 for 39. Darren 8 for 39. And Brandon 8 for 40.
See, I told you. Hey.
You defended. Let's put it this way, Brandon. You defended your answer very well. I originally had you at a lower score, and I bumped your score up after your defense.
See, that's the English teacher argument. I don't care what argument you make as long as you pick supporting examples from your text to support your thesis. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So you supported that argument very well, and I'm quite happy with the score we gave you. As for the quarterfinals, the sixth and final question is more of a direction than a question, but once again, you get to summarize this panel in 140 characters or fewer for the purposes of a tweet. Obviously, there's no voting on the tweets this time, so it's more just for fun, but and obviously you're going to get a score out of 10 based on your tweet. But Alexander will go first, followed by Mark, Elliot, Darren, Brendan, and Aria. So once again, you get to summarize the panel for 140 characters. For those of you who are missing a baseball game for this, do know that Jose Bautista just hit another home run, so the Blue Jays are now ahead of the Yankees 5-4. But Alexander, you go first. Summarize this panel in 140 characters or fewer. Your microphone is not on.
I muted myself. I was saying I can't get Helen Keller out of my mind, so it's sort of like Kim Kardashian, Helen Keller, what do they have in common? Jeopardy panel. Jeopardy live panel.
Mark.
How did she burn her ear? She answered the iron.
Elliot.
The message.
It's a good thing Miss Keller can't watch or listen to this panel.
Darren?
Now I don't know what Jeopardy gift to get Helen Keller.
Brandon?
Kim Kardashian barely edges out Helen Keller. Tulowitzki traded to Jays. Everyone still has a hat but me. Go figure. Harry Friedman, write me.
And Aria.
I think I'm going to go with, who says the Jeopardy jinx isn't intentional?
So, our judging panel will come up with scores for the tweets. Just a reminder that the fan vote is already open, and it will go on for 48 hours after I go off air today. So do keep that in mind. Once again, for every 5% of the ballots in that poll your name appears on, you will get a single point for the fan vote.
Tweeted his answer for worst replacement, and it's so good. Gilbert Gottfried. I can't believe I didn't think of it.
That occurred to me too afterwards. Yeah,
Keith is ultra. I'm
glad
I'm not in his semifinal.
What do you want to wager?
Yeah.
Make your bet.
Yeah. It's like if you're Gilbert Gottfried, you bet to cover second, and then if you're third, you bet to cover Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like Keith's answer, and yes, I mean his debate score was one of the highest in the quarterfinals. So
yeah, sure, exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are glad they aren't in Keith's semifinal. But as usual, I'm going to go through one at a time and in reverse order of scores to reveal the tweet scores.
Does anybody have a drum they can roll or something?
I guess we could pound on our computers? I don't know.
Okay.
That sounds like a safe, consequenceless idea.
Okay, so Alexander had 35. His tweet score was 7 points. That means he finishes at 42. Aria had 38. Her tweet gets 8 points, finishing at 46. Mark had 39. His tweet picks up 4. Finishes at 43. Elliot, his tweet picks up 5. He finishes at 44. Darren had 39. His tweet picks up 8 for 47. Brendan had 40. His tweet picks up 8 for 48. So 6 points separate first from last after the debate portion. Once again, 20 points are available on the fan vote. Anyone still has a chance to win this semifinal and get through to the finals here on the Jeopardy Live panel tournament of panelists.
Remember, guys, 2-day total point affair.
Yeah, exactly. I should have bet it all halfway through double. Sorry, Roger.
So basically, I will say for once again, Brandon finishes this debate portion at 48. Darren 47, Aria 46, Elliot 44, Mark 43, Alexander 42. The poll link is available at thejeopardyfan.com. It will go until 3:45 p.m. Eastern on September the 14th. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for taking part to all of our panel. So for the panelists, for Jeannie, for myself, and everyone at thejeopardyfan.com, thanks for tuning in. I will see you on our next panel, semifinal number 2, at 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. So thank you all, and see you in about 6 hours and 17 minutes.